Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. My name is Alona and I'm an English and German teacher. And today I have a lot of different things on my table and I want to show you how you can use these things, these objects, in teaching English or any other language. Today's video is very special for me because it is the first video that I'm filming in English. So I would be really grateful to you if you support me by pressing a like button. And so let's dive into it. If we look around us, we can see different things, different objects that we can actually use at our lessons. And sometimes it is possible to teach a language even without a course book. Or if you have a course book, you can at least use some of the things to make your lessons more varied and make your students more engaged. So today I have collected a few things, a few realities, household objects, and I'm going to show you how you can use them with your students. Most of these activities can be done both online and offline with students of different levels and teaching different topics. So it's up to you. I'm just going to show you a few examples of how you can use it and you are going to adapt it according to your needs. And the first object that we are going to use is either the cotton bag or a box. So either or. If you don't have a box, you can use a cotton bag. Everybody has a cotton bag. And this activity is called a mystery box. And what you do here is that you put an object inside your box. It could be anything. And then you divide your students into teams if you teach groups of students. And the students should ask you yes/no questions to guess what is inside your box. You can also make this activity more challenging for your students by setting a time limit. And after the time is up, the students should discuss what this object inside the box is and then come up with the answer. So here, for example, inside the box I have a monkey, but as I have already said, it can be anything. It can be something that is connected to the topic that you are going to teach as a leading activity. It can be also connected with something that you taught on the previous lesson, and you can just remember the words that you've taught before. So let's say, for example, if you have the topic school objects, it can be something like a ruler, an eraser, a pen, whatever. If the topic is animals, it can be a toy representing an animal and so on. And you can say, like, why use a box or a bag if we can just think of this word in our head and let our students guess it? And you would be right, but I think nowadays we are surrounded by digitalized things, by digital technologies, and we spend a lot of time online. We also teach online. So when we have some things that we can actually touch, I think it becomes really valuable and the students get really engaged in such kinds of activities. And there are also different things you can do with either a box or a cotton bag. So the next thing you can do is, again, use a cotton bag or a box and put inside the bag, let's say, the cards with different words. Again, it can be words that you taught on the previous lesson or the new words from this lesson. So you put the cards in the bag and the student comes up and takes a card out of the bag and they have to define these words for other students to guess. Another activity that can be done here also involves the cards with words, and the first student comes up and takes a card out of the bag and he has to create a sentence with this word on the card. Then the next student comes up and takes another card with the word and creates another sentence that should be somehow connected with the previous sentence that the student before had said. And that way they are going to create some kind of a story. So that is supposed to be fun and creative. So let's proceed to other things that I have here on my table. And the next thing is sticky notes. So here you should ideally ask students to have their own sticky notes. This activity is perfect if you teach degrees of adjectives, like comparative and superlative forms of adjectives. So what you do here is you say an adjective to students, and their task is to write the superlative form of this adjective on different sticky notes of different colors. After that, when they are done with the first part of this activity, they have to find the objects in their room if you're teaching online, or in the classroom if you're teaching offline, that can be described with these adjectives, like the oldest. They have to find the oldest thing is in their room. The most expensive, they have to find the most expensive thing in their room and stick the sticker to this thing. And after they are done, divide students into pairs, and they have to tell each other about the objects that they labeled and why they've chosen this or that thing. So the next activity is called Color Race. And this activity is more designed for lower level students, and it involves a little bit of movement. Again, you can do it either online or offline, and what you do here is that you read a sentence saying like, find something black. And the students have to either find an object that is black and show it to the camera, or they have to find this thing in the classroom and go to it and touch it. And whoever is the quickest, whoever did it the first, is kind of a winner and can get a point for that. The next activity is called An Object with the History. And ideally here you ask students in advance to bring a thing from home that has some kind of a background, some kind of a history behind. So it can be, I don't know, a ring, for example, or a book or some souvenir, so whatever. And then you can either divide students into group, pairs, or you can do it as a one-class activity where each student presents their object and tells the history behind it. A variation from this activity can be when a student first shows an object to the class and the other students are trying to guess what is it, why is it significant, what kind of story it might have, and after that tells the story. And when everybody is done, you can ask about the feedback, whose story was the most interesting, the most memorable, and so on. Then here I have two hourglass. I usually use it when I prepare for IELTS with my students, especially for the speaking part. It is a very useful thing because in IELTS speaking part you have 1 minute to prepare and then 2 minutes to speak. So I literally set the hourglass for 1 minute so the students can actually see how much time is left. And then I also set another timer for 2 minutes so that they can also plan their speech. And the same can be done when you give students some time to prepare for any kind of activities or when you limit the time in any other way. The other activity, the last one, is called the Desert Island. And it consists of several parts. So first of all, you ask your students to put an object on the table. So it could be anything that they have with them now at the moment. But pay attention that these objects do not duplicate. So, for example, one student has a pen, the other student cannot have a pen, it should be something else. And then tell the students that they have been stranded on a desert island, and the only things they have is the ones that they have in front of them on the table. And their aim is to stay alive. So at the beginning you can have a small discussion about whether it's a big island or a small island, whether there are any, I don't know, people there. So give some conditions for that, and then allocate students into groups or pairs and ask them to come up with the uses of these objects, how these objects can be used on the desert island. And this is very creative activity because you have to think outside the box. For example, if they have a ring, they might come up with an idea to, I don't know, trade this ring for food. Or if they have a paper banknote, they can use it to start fire. So encourage your students to think of as many uses for their things as possible, not only for obvious ones. And then ask students to feedback their ideas to the whole class and see who has the most imaginative ideas. After that, ask your students to rank their items in order of importance, and here you can set a limit. For example, you have a class of 12 students, and let's say you can take only 6 items with you on board. So they have to get rid of some things, they have to decide which things they need more, which things they need less. And after that, they have to explain which things they kept and why, and which things they got rid of and why. So that was some of my ideas of using realia on the lessons. If you have any other activities that can be done with household things, household objects, please write them in the comments below. Let's share, because sharing is caring. And subscribe to my channel. I'm going to film more videos in English in the future. Hope you enjoyed it and it was useful for you. See you next time!